My 37th husband 38 meters and my affair partner met, and I don't know if it saved our marriage or destroyed it. Story 1. Just as the title says, yesterday was a day that I will never forget. Please excuse the length of this post. Believe it or not, I took some parts out to cut down on the length. Anyways, I would appreciate any insight or advice that anyone could offer regarding my situation. For some context, I 37F have been with my husband 38 meters for 21 years and married for 10. Last year, I had a physical affair with a man for 3 weeks, though we have been in contact for several months. Eventually, my conscience couldn't take it, and I came clean. Needless to say, my marriage was shattered. After some time and reflection, my husband and I made the decision to work it out. Though it has been a rocky last couple of months, that took a turn yesterday. My husband took me to a hotel resort. In my mind, this was a big opportunity to connect on an emotional level without the little one and maybe physically as well. Anyways, after 10 minutes or so in the room, I heard a knock, and it was my affair partner and his friend. I was not expecting that. As soon as I saw him, I felt sick to my stomach and started to cry. The only thing that I wanted was to leave that hotel and be somewhere else. My husband took me aside and explained to me that he hired a private investigator and tracked him down. He found out where he lived, which I don't even know, and asked to meet. Had he refused to meet, my husband told him that he would go to his house and reveal everything to his fiancée, which I also didn't know he had. He wanted to know everything about our affair. Everything from how often we met, to physical characteristics, to the time itself. Of course, I told him how the affair got started and things like that. But I was hesitant to talk about how my affair partner made me feel, and of course the time. I have avoided doing so because of the shame and embarrassment that I felt. But in all honesty, the main reason was that I didn't want to hurt my husband anymore. Has always been a bit sensitive about his body and our time life in general. After I came clean on the affair, I have been seeing a therapist. She told me that when it comes to infidelity, men tend to focus more on the physical aspects of the affair, at least more so than women. The reason that I didn't walk out of that hotel room is because my husband told me that he needed closure and he needed to better understand. Basically, had I walked out that door, our marriage was as good as over. When he said that to me, and the look in his eyes, I had never seen him be so serious. So I stayed. Long story short, that conversation was soul crushing. My affair partner asked his friend to wait outside the door, and he told my husband everything. He explained to him how we came in contact, for how long, when we decided to make it physical, how often, when, and where. Basically, there really wasn't anything that wasn't covered. As I mentioned earlier, he told my husband things that I had already told him before, but made sure to leave out no details. However, I think the worst part was when my husband asked him why he pursued me. Apparently, we went to the same high school, though we never met. My husband and I are high school sweethearts, so I wasn't hanging out with other boys during that time. He was my first everything. So when he saw my picture on social media, he contacted me, and we took it from there. When my husband pressed him on why me, he said that I was a pretty face with a great rack. He said that from our conversations, he felt like I was timely frustrated, and he wanted to bang me. Basically, he lied to me every step of the way, just to have time with me. Destroyed won't begin to describe how I felt. After there weren't any more questions, my husband asked me to wait in the balcony and he talked with the other man. After a short conversation, he went to the bathroom and my husband joined me. He began telling me how the private investigator followed him for 2 weeks and found out that he was engaged to a woman who comes from a family that's well off. We talked about she was probably his meal ticket and how there's a pretty high chance that I was not his first affair. Anyways, we talked about the horrible conversation that took place. After a while, I don't remember how long it was, but my affair partner finally came out of the bathroom wearing a robe. After my husband I walked back in, he disrobed and was completely naked with a full-on erection. I quickly turned away, but my husband just kept looking at him. After what seemed like forever, He told the man to get dressed and that if he ever sees him near me again, he will rat him out to his wife-to-be and do everything he could to make his life miserable. So he left. I was shocked to say the least. Later my husband said that he gave him 2 Viagra pills because he wanted to see how big his CCK was, because I wouldn't tell him. He wanted to know if he still measured up, and that now he knows the answer, and started to cry, which made me cry as well. He then told me that he was a misogynistic pig who uses people. He did say that he is glad that he got to meet him because it made him realize how neglectful he was towards me and how it put me on a path to a man like that. I made sure to take responsibility for the affair, but my husband was having none of it. He vowed to be a better father, a better friend, and a better husband. And here I am. To be honest, I couldn't sleep last night. We ended up coming back home. I wouldn't dare stay in that hotel room. The thing is, I don't know how I feel about what happened. If you told me last year that my husband was capable of doing something like this, going to these lengths, I wouldn't have believed you. So, does anyone have any advice? I do love him very much, but I wonder if the damage is too great, not just to our rest time life, but our relationship as a whole. Is this something that we can come back from? Any help would be appreciated. Redditors reactions. Redditor 1, all 3 of you are bizarre. Redditor 2, 2 Viagra pills how? Yeah, I'm not really buying this. If this is real, you deserve every feeling you have inside. Story 2. I was dishonest with my husband, and he caught me. In desperation to get him to stay, I made a deal with him that I regretted, and now he is resentful. I've struggled with alcohol for years. It got better for a little while, and then worse when my sons were younger. Its severity has varied over the years, but earlier this year it got much worse. I promised my husband I would go to AA meetings and go to therapy, and I didn't. I lied about going, and I used the money I claimed was for the therapist for alcohol. The times I said I was there, I was drinking. I lied to him about drinking when I was at home with our sons. This isn't the first time I did things like these in our marriage, but this time he told me he was done. I was desperate to keep him, even though I knew he was disgusted by my lies and didn't respect me anymore. I wanted to do anything to make him think our marriage was worth staying in. I knew who he was attracted to, and I knew she had a crush on him. I told him, while I focused on rehab and getting better, we could open up the marriage, so he could get what he needed, as long as he was open with me about everything. He was open with me about it all. They got to know each other so fast, spent hours together, texted constantly. They began sleeping together, and I've never seen him so happy. Now I'm ready to work on us again. I want to close our marriage and focus on just us. I told him this, and he seems very resentful. So I told him that this open marriage thing just turned into a way for him to morally cheat without needing to divorce me first. And if he wanted to keep the marriage open, we might as well get a divorce and he can just date Kayla. My husband flipped out on me. He said the only reason he did what he did was because I seemed insistent on him doing it, to appease my own guilt. He said that the only reason that I opened up the marriage was because of what I did. He said that he wasn't ready to end things with her, but he also wasn't ready to make our kids have to deal with us going through a divorce, because he remembers how messed up he got from his parents' divorce. He said if he had known that I was going to want him to stop, he never would have started in the first place. Now he's telling me that he resents me for putting him in this position. Has broken things off with her, but now he's acting sullen and angry. Eater, I have completed rehab and been completely sober for a month. Redditor's reactions. Redditor 1, I wanted to do anything to make him think our marriage was worth staying in. Interesting phrasing you used there. Not I wanted to do anything to make our marriage worth staying in, but I wanted to do anything to make him think our marriage is worth staying in. So just more manipulation on your part. Sounds like you've been lying to him, deceiving him and manipulating him for years, and now your attempt to manipulate him yet again has backfired and you're salty about it. Did you actually get sober and see a therapist or not? Redditor 2, well, if it isn't the consequences of your actions, at this point just divorce. Your kids are going to suffer anyway with either a divorce or a marriage with a completely miserable and resentful father. Congrats, you wrecked your family, and it's not because of your alcoholism but you're lying.